Okay.
Hi, Carolyn. Thank you so much for being
Hey,
a part of this summit. Realign your thoughts for women who want to exude confidence in every area of their life.
I'm so glad you asked me to be part of it.
Yeah, it's a joy having you here. So, to kick us off, why don't we have you introduce yourself? So, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you decided to be a part of this.
Sure. I am Carolyn Ketchum, and I write a food blog recipe website devoted to keto and low carb recipes. It's called All Day I Dream About Food. I'm also a cookbook author. I've got 6 published cookbooks, one of which is The Ultimate Guide to Keto Baking, because baking is very important to me. And it's sort of the premier book on how to bake with keto ingredients. So I guess that's real. Oh, well, I do keto because I had gestational diabetes with my 3rd kiddo, and it didn't quite resolve. I guess I'd be labeled as a pre-diabetic. I've managed to stay off insulin and never get fully diagnosed, which is good for health insurance. And so that's why I do low carb. I went low carb very quickly early on, and I believe it's a really healthy option.
Great, great. So, let me start with this question.
Sure.
What is confidence to you?
Oh, it's so many things. I mean, it's not, I think people think of it as somebody just being so full of themselves sometimes, but it's not. It's knowing your worth, knowing you have something to offer to the world, and being at peace with yourself and not really worrying about what other people think as much as you may be used to.
Yeah. So, knowing your self-worth and knowing that you have value,
Right.
you matter.
And you add value to the world, and people get something from you. Yeah.
Love that. Do you consider yourself to be a confident person?
Depends on the day. No, really, it does. But I mean, it goes in and out. But on the whole, I think as a woman of a certain age, you stop caring a lot less what people think of you. And you know that you've got something to give. And yeah, I would say I'm a pretty confident person but again, day in, day out can change. We can be rocked by little things sometimes. But yes, I would say overall.
Yeah. And I think in doing these interviews, I found a theme that the older you become, the more you, or actually the less that you do care about what other people think. So you tend to exude that confidence more because you just don't care how others judge you. It's more about how you see yourself.
Absolutely. And I think you've nailed it, because it's, day in, day out, if I don't feel as confident, it's about, I'm not keeping up with what I feel I need to keep up with. Or, I'm having a rough time with my kids sometimes, which can rock my confidence a little. Parenting's it's a whole other matter. But yeah, it's so much more about how you see yourself.
And so what role does confidence play in your field of expertise?
Well, there's a lot of interesting things there. I have to be on social media, and social media can be rough, and there's a lot of competition and a lot for the attention of everything. So I think you have to know you're good at what you do, which I feel very strongly I am, or I wouldn't write a book called The Ultimate Guide. And you have to be just, there are so many, these days, there are so many trolls and people just ready to take someone down as quickly as they can. So you have to just know that that's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. And then being good at what you do. I mean, I'm constantly putting out content, and I don't want to put out bad content. So it's about knowing how to create really good, engaging content. And yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So is there a such thing as health confidence? And if so, how would you define it?
I absolutely think there is. In terms of definition, I love this phrase. Is this something you've coined, health confidence?
Yes.
Yourself? Yay. Look at you. I think it's knowing you're doing the best to be healthy, because there are so many ways to be unhealthy and they make us feel guilt, and guilt has a tendency to rock our confidence. And so I would say a definition is just knowing you're doing your best to stay healthy and fit and, live life without health issues, I guess.
I love that. I didn't have a definition. I liked health confidence, but I didn't.
Well, I think I could refine that definition a little, but really just trying your best. I mean, you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to, and some of us have, unfortunately, sort of luck of the draw things that keep us from being perfectly healthy. But if you're taking charge of your health, I think that makes you much happier.
I like that. Taking charge. Yeah, taking charge of your health. Yes. Nice. So then let me ask you this next question. So what has helped you to exude confidence in your personal and in your professional life?
Well, again, realizing I was good at what I did. I am not somebody who's like a trained chef by any means. I'm all self-taught. But it's like learning to ride a bike. It's a skill. And there's something about the skill of, so it's not just the food, but I also have to know, I have to do the photography and I have to do a lot of things. And you sort of, you work at it like a skill, and you're always trying to improve, which means you're not sitting there going, I'm the best at everything I do. But it's about kind of gaining the skill and feeling like, wow, I really nailed that one, once, and maybe not every time, but once in a while, and knowing that it holds value for you and for other people. So exuding confidence, again, I think some of that comes with age. I hate to say it, but I have 2 young daughters, and they're pretty confident kids because I think they feel pretty good about themselves. But that the social life of teenagers can really take a toll. So, I think some of it comes with age and just realizing it doesn't matter what other people think. Obviously I want people to think my recipes are the best. So yes, in that sense, it matters greatly, but I also know some of my recipes are the best. So, I'm pretty confident in them.
And yeah, you have to be. And I loved it. Like you said, yeah, I know some of mine are the best. And yeah, I do really believe as a teenager, you're right. We are so concerned with what others think that it just has such a hold.
Right.
It really does affect our confidence. So I totally agree that, yeah, it comes with age, and it is belief in yourself. And like you said, in your skill set, I know that I can do this. Yeah.
I would add something to that, because you made me think of something that helps people exude confidence is surrounding yourselves with positive people. So for example, my daughters, have good friends, and those friends they rely on. And then there's some kids who aren't as nice, and they start going, well, this person doesn't really like me. And I think, well, do you like them? And does it matter to you if they like you? And they start going, maybe not, but, so they put too much stock in the negative and not enough in the positive. And as long as you surround yourself with the people who believe in you, then that adds to helping you exude confidence.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Totally agree. So if you're open to it.
Sure.
Could you share an experience when you didn't feel so confident, and if you were able to push through, and what helped you to push through that difficult situation?
This is hard. I can't think of one specific. See, I'm in an interesting phase of perimenopause. Fun times. And so I feel there are days where I just out of the blue feel down and unconfident. And I have to talk myself through it. But some of it is also just saying, it's okay to feel this way today. It's okay to feel this way. But in times in my life when every time I get up to speak publicly, which I've done book signings and I've done talks and things like that, it's always, there's that, couple of days worth before it where you're thinking, oh gosh, am I gonna screw up, or am I going to be interesting enough or funny enough or, engaging enough? And you have to just, I come from the school of fake it till you make it, so I might tell someone close that I'm very nervous about it, but I then, just really, I don't let the people know, and I get up there and I start talking, and suddenly it just comes. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific moment. I don't think there's been too many things where I felt like in the past 10 years or so where I felt okay. There are times when you move to a new place. When I moved first to Portland, when we first were here, and I'm meeting people, and I felt out of my league with a few people who were very smart and very socially aware. And I said a few things and they asked me questions back, and I went, oh, and I thought, I'm a little out of my league. But it was great, because then I was like, you know what? The thing that I'm going to do here is just listen, because I don't necessarily have something to contribute to this very lofty intellectual conversation, but I'm going to learn something. So is that a good example?
No, I love that, because sometimes, you don't have anything to contribute. Sometimes you just don't, but you can get so much from listening.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You can gain so much. So yeah, I really do. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just realized, this is not I'm out of my this is not in my wheelhouse. So it's time to just learn and not be the leader in that situation.
Yeah. So now, what about when you do start to have some self-doubt, and those negative thoughts creep in? What do you say to yourself? What do you do to realign your thoughts to regain your confidence?
That's a good one. I feel like that's happening frequently in my professional life, not because of much I can control, but the way social media is headed and things I am very, my website is very personal to me. It has always been, because it's sort of my creation. And when it's not doing as well, I get very anxious. And I've experienced that a few times recently, because Google's changed its rules here and its rules there, and social media is doing this, and they're moving towards TikTok, and I'm like, I don't even understand TikTok. So and I've had moments of like, can I keep on doing this? And and then it's just like, I'm gonna adapt. I mean, I love what I do. I'm always going to find a way to do it. I just may have to find different ways to get it out there. And so it is definitely talking yourself through it. I don't know that I have a specific mantra. It's just, I think that I look back on my past, and I've always been very adaptable. And so I think that makes, whenever some sort of tough things have come along, or I've decided to change the way I do things, I can change it. But I don't necessarily know where I'm going or where I'm headed, but I can change it and I can adapt. So.
Yeah, I think that's great, because, things are changing so fast that if you are able to adapt, then you have the opportunity to learn new things. You have the opportunity to be more confident in what you're doing, and be confident in what you've already done.
Right. And so because, when I see things not doing as well, I take it personally, and I have to remind myself that this is beyond my control. And so many things are. I think as women in particular, we tend to internalize everything and take it personally. And we have to see, like, there's outside forces here that I have zero control over. So I'm going to find other ways to do things and get around it.
Yeah. So I guess my next question would be, how important is having a strong sense of self and self-worth when it comes to health confidence?
It's essential, and it's essential in the sense of, you're not going to take charge of your health if you don't think you're worth it. And unfortunately, in the area of weight loss, that's really been an issue for a lot of people. And some of the habits that they've developed over time, it's like a vicious circle because, the habit itself makes them feel bad about themselves. And so they start thinking they can't do it. And it just keeps cycling and cycling. And so I think you have to realize, you have to come to that point of, either I'm risking my life, which hopefully, but there's so many studies that say that sort of the risk of it isn't what drives people. It's, it's finally deciding that you're worth it. And it is critical to, and it has a feedback effect. So if you say, again, weight loss, it isn't always about weight loss, but sometimes it is. If it's a weight loss situation, it's you taking action and starting to lose the weight increases your confidence and self-worth. And then it's a positive feedback loop as opposed to the negative one.
Yeah, totally agree. And as somebody who struggled with their weight, I can totally relate to that. It gets to a point where you do decide, okay, I know this is stopping me from being as confident as I would want to be. So
right.
Am I going to make that change and start doing what I need to do to be healthy, or am I not?
Right.
There's two choices.
Right. And it doesn't mean you have to always do it perfectly. I think one of my biggest, I'm in a lot of weight loss and keto groups, and I see a lot of people berate themselves when they have a bad day, and we all have bad days.
Right.
So stop with the self-flagellation. You'll be much happier. So
what would be 3 tips then that you would give someone who wants to regain health confidence?
Okay, so the one that I was saying, which I've been thinking, I wrote an article at one point for people who kind of fell off the wagon on low carb. And my first number 1 rule is don't beat yourself up. Because again, that starts the negative feedback cycle and vicious cycle where you beat yourself up. So you ate a bunch of potatoes yesterday or chips or something, and you beat yourself up, and then you just want to self-sabotage and do it again. So don't beat yourself up. Try to talk yourself out of the, I fail. We all fall off the wagon. We all fail. We all have moments where we make bad decisions. And if somebody tells you they don't, they're a big liar. Don't believe them.
Right.
So, and then the second one is to make a plan. If you don't just sort of jump in and think, this will just happen automatically. If you sit down, and it's like when I get up in the middle of the night because I can't stop thinking about the things I need to do, I have to get up and write them down. Once I write them down, oh, look, I can go back to sleep. And then the third one is just to take that action, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. If you don't start, you're never going to start. So you make the plan, you stick to it. You don't stick to it perfectly. Again, just every day, one foot in front of the other, and you take action.
So I hear show compassion, show yourself some self-compassion.
I like that. That's a good one.
Set yourself up for success.
Great.
And be in action.
Yes. I see a lot of people, again, in the keto world, when they've read about keto and how maybe it could help them, they keep reading and overthinking, and then they don't start. They never start. And I think, well, don't take so long. You're making your plan that you never actually start.
Right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the interview, Carolyn?
Well, you've given me a lot of food for thought. I mean, I got to think about what makes me feel confident. And some of it is, you're absolutely right, some of it is being in really good health and thinking, I prioritize this and I prioritize me. So prioritize yourself. And again, as women, we tend to not do that. We put everybody ahead of us. We take care of a lot of people, and then we don't prioritize ourselves. So prioritizing ourselves is absolutely important.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you being a part of this. I've really enjoyed it, and I have learned a lot.
Thank you. I'm so glad you asked me to be part of it.
Yeah, it's been great. Before we close out, I just want to say I'm always in gratitude when people share of themselves and their time. So I definitely appreciate you and just want to say thank you again.
Thank you so much, Shaquincha.